So, good morning. Last week we celebrated Christmas Eve with Reverend Ruth Miller, who reminded us that it's not about a person, Jesus Christ, but it's about what that person represents to us. The week before we celebrated Hanukkah with Nin and Tuvia. Tuvia singing and enjoying this holiday with friends, celebrating the triumph of light over darkness. Our UU faith embraces all faith traditions. And isn't that a wonderful thing? Yes. Money and the Meaning of Christmas was the title of Reverend Marcia Pierce's talk not too long ago, where we are reminded that the best gift at this time of the year is a portion of thyself. No one dies alone. Chaplain Joni Schmidt came and talked to us about her passion that brings comfort to those who are the most vulnerable and alone. The Words of the Prophets, a title from another program we had. It was not about predicting the future, but what God says about what is. Prophetic churches are creators of justice, makers of history. And this UU faith is no different. And then we had the things in October, like the Thin Veil, Day of the Dead. Thank you, Nin, for bringing us closer to those who have departed. Compassion in Human Relations, another great Sunday talk. The mere titles of our Sunday services this past year should indicate to anyone who walks through our front doors they have arrived at a Unitarian Universalist church, like no other you'll ever go to. Why do we celebrate Halloween? Remember Reverend Rick Davis came and talked to us about Halloween. It's not just about masks, but it's about unveiling. It's about the masks we do put on, and it's about taking those masks off and being who we really are. Getting to Acceptance, the title of Reverend Ruth Miller's talk about learning to forgive. This, we believe, was the first of many to come, a series of talks provided by our own congregants, and Jennifer and I were privileged to be the first, where we talked about things we believe in, so you can get to know us a little bit better. And what I realized, our differences are what make us so perfect to be together. There is always a greater yet to be, another great topic, the title I loved, with Reverend Marcia. To become, we need to let go. There is something greater in life for you. So you get the drift. I'm going back in time of the wonderful services we've had this year. These are the titles, these are the people that presented, and these were my little takeaways for the year. Another title, Seeing the Inherent Worth of Each Person with Reverend Ruth. All human beings are sentient. Sentient? Am I pronouncing it? Sentient. Is it a hard T? Sentient? Thank you. Capable of experiencing through our senses. We get to think what we want and say what we think. We just have to be careful. Now that's a true UU statement. Reverend Ruth also provided a talk titled The Guidance of Reason, where she talked about using fact, the intellect, and then following our gut. Test it in your heart. Does it fit? Is it in alignment with who you are becoming? Michelle Holman joined us one Sunday for a title called Community Rights. How to turn the upside down world right side up again, where we, the people, actually have the power. But we don't. That's what we need to fix. So we are UUs in justice. We are UUs trying to make a difference in this world in a powerful, positive way. Using your inner vision, again with Reverend Marcia, who, as many of you know, speaks typically the first Sunday every month. As she says, what we see in life is reflected back to us. Life is a mirror. When we think the best of people, we are then the best we can be. Interesting topics, don't you agree? Victoria Destiny Walker showed up one Sunday morning and talked to us about loving your life. how can you possibly argue with breathe in the love, go ahead, breathe out the negativity. Dirty laundry. That one was a tough one for us, if you recall. This is when the UU Association finally shone light on its own internal possible bigotry. Possibly not living the values it should have been living all along. And what are we going to do about it? So it has to do with white supremacy. White supremacists. This belief that the whites have supreme power. We don't. We have to stop acting that way. We have to be inclusive. So Walt was daring enough to bring a spotlight on this thing that the UUA got caught. And they are righting that ship and they are making it better, and things have changed. So as he said, let's keep looking inward, put a spotlight on the mistakes, and then let's grow and adapt and forgive. Humanitarian clowning. Remember Barb Ryan here when she talked about Patch Adams and how she went on those excursions with people she'd never met before to countries she never dreamed she'd go to, making a difference in the hospitals for the kids? What a lovely talk she gave about the power of laughter, how it breaks down barriers and heals the soul. So we have Reverend Marcia, we have Reverend Ruth, who's our contract minister, who speaks twice a month. We have lots of extras who bring their special messages to us every Sunday. We have a program committee of Ruth and Ruth. And I think there's another Ruth, and I think there's a Judy, and there's an April. They create our Sunday experiences, and we are forever grateful to the work you do every month to bring us something special. Okay, restoring the democratic process. Michelle, yes?
Are all those on YouTube for the whole year?
Yeah. Mostly they're all on YouTube. You can find them on our website, and I believe there's a list of all of them, and you can click and watch them. So the one that I haven't watched yet was Marcia's talk on Christmas. I didn't see that one because we were down in Mexico. We will watch it. Restoring the democratic process. Reverend Ruth reminded us that voting is a small part of our democracy, but being informed is essential. This last year, we created our food cafe. We added a door back there with a sign over for easy access. We added new members to our ranks. We lost a few members and very special friends. We changed our layout, our physical space. We put a barrier wall over here so you didn't have to necessarily hear who was in the other room over here with the fan going. We bottled some wine so you can purchase for $10 a bottle, and they're lovely. That's one of our fundraisers. We had some potlucks. We had a Christmas show. We cabareted a few times. What am I missing? Hiking. We started the fog. And the fog is called Florence Outings Group. Okay, every Tuesday. Reverend Amber Rose came by and talked about living interconnections. She reminded us to step up to what we are meant to do. Give up the push to make things happen, because to make things happen, you need to give it over to a greater outcome. John Raimondo is one of our representatives for the UU Voices for Justice, and he represents this fellowship over in Eugene and whenever that group meets. One of his projects was the need for a living wage in this country. And he wrote a white paper, and he presented it to us as his beta test group, if you will. It's like preaching to the choir, right? But it was still nonetheless very important to realize that financial hardship is not just about the person, the mom and the dad. It has devastating ripple effects that address adverse children experiences, real trauma. And what can we do about bringing living wages to the people in this country? What can we do? Is it up to the government? Is it up to corporations and industry to do the right thing? We honored Mother's Day and we honored Father's Day. We spoke about unconditional love. Love everyone. That which we call God is us. Sending love takes no effort or expense. It's a thought that turns into the energy. Thank you, Reverend Marcia, for that. Mothering does not require perfection. Just want you to know that, mothers out there. It does not require perfection. We cannot afford any exceptions to the fact that we are one. We are connected. Look around, folks. We're connected, whether you like it or not. Love is in the air with Barb Ryan. As she said, we have a pilot light that never goes out. It's known as the love light. And the thing she said that I thought was so incredibly interesting and prophetic, fear fears everything, especially love. Fear fears love. Making a left turn with our own Patty Godwin. There is always adventure wherever you go. Mother Nature has something for everyone. You'll be speaking again next year, right? Okay. We held a planning retreat in February where we explored what we wanted for the year. Educational opportunities, which led to many workshops and seminars, and now we have the big question, the big Q. One of the events that I attended with Reverend Marcia talked about manifesting what it is you need. What is it you want? And it was a thing. Is there something you want? And how are you going to get it? And what I realized was I manifested, what was it, peace, Jennifer? Peace. Thanks, Rick. And what peace led to was letting go, I don't know, just being at peace with what Jennifer brings to our relationship and how we might foster a new car. Yeah, it was a thing. I'm sorry, it was a thing. But what we realized was when we found that peace, we realized we could let go of 2 of our cars and get 2 new cars. Now they're used, they're 2014s, but they're new to us. But I never would have thought the possibility of getting 2 instead of 1. Is that how we got 2 cats? Wait a minute, there's something going on here with the 2s. Some of my favorite quotes from this past year. What we feed our consciousness feeds our soul. We need a new thought to replace a dysfunctional thought. My soul is the place where God pours through me. Consciousness is transmitted through the brain, not created in the brain. So these are samples of so many of the year's services and accomplishments. We've been blessed to be a part of this great liberal faith right here on the Central Oregon coast in our humble fellowship. Does anyone else have a favorite Sunday service you would like to mention? They were all good. I just want to tell you, there was a time when this particular fellowship was all about social justice, and every time we met, we talked about social justice. But we never got to the soul of who we are, what we believe, and where we want to go. And then we kind of went way over here. It got a little too much, and now we've come back a little bit. So we try to have something different every single week to pique our interest and to keep us whole, to keep us active and keep us alive. Yes, Ray?
I thought the Hanukkah service, because I always thought of it as a kind of a somber holiday.
Yeah.
Nothing but
With
joy.
Tuvia? Ooh,
Yeah,
no.
it was nothing but joy. So I thought that was great.
Yeah. And I know we have other things planned next year, celebrating the other faith traditions. When Reverend Annie was our minister, she brought a lot of the Tao to us. It was fabulous. It was just fabulous. I mean, come on, folks, we're all connected. There's no one better than us. There's nobody less than us. We're just different. We think different. We act different. But we all come from that place of love. Does I already asked that question. So I'm reminded of the 7 principles of faith from which we draw our messages on Sundays. And I would like to remind you of the same. And if you would indulge me for a moment and turn to the program you have in hand. And on the front are our 7 principles. And I would love for us to read these together. Do you mind? Because as we read these, you can sense that the titles and the topics and the takeaways that I've had this last year, they fit into one or more of these. And that's been our purpose, is to deliver a message that touches on one or more of these 7 principles. So if you will, read after me. We covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of each person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and society at large. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. That's who we are. That's what we've accomplished this year. So looking forward by looking back. In your hymnal is a piece of paper and an envelope. I'm going to ask that the lights be turned back on. And this is a voluntary exercise. But I'm going to invite you to write a love letter to yourself. I'll explain. You're going to date the letter December 23rd, 2018. December 23rd, 2018. You're going to write a letter to yourself, and you're going to tell yourself what a great year it was, and why. You're going to remind yourself of your greatness, of all that you accomplished, of all who you became. You're going to congratulate yourself for being the magnificent person you are. This is a love letter from you to you. If I had written a love letter last year of all the great things that happened to me in 2017, I would have started with the warm feelings I get each Sunday standing up here with you. This year, I will probably concentrate on this fellowship, but on what I also feel like to slowly move to a different direction with my employment. I don't know what it looks like, but I think I can figure out what it'll feel like. So if you wish instead to get up and move around during this exercise, please do so quietly. I'm going to ring a bell when I think we've finished our exercise, and if anybody needs any paper or an envelope, Patty's got some. Again, voluntary. But when I ring the bell, you're going to seal your envelope, you're going to address it to yourself, and if you give it to me, I'll hold on to it preciously for a year, and I'll mail it back to you on December 24th, 2018. And you can read it in the privacy of your own home, and bring that experience back to church on the next day. So take a few minutes. Write a love letter to yourself, reminding you of everything you accomplished and did and were in 2018. A love letter to you. Oh, I've got extra pens, yes. Who needs a pen? Anybody need a pen? Red one, just for you. I continued my pursuits too. I love life. when we get new windows in a couple of weeks. Get you another envelope. So if you got one of these envelopes, they don't seal very well, so. Yeah, it smells. Looks like Ruth B is checking hers for spelling. So we'll keep these here right in our office. Locked drawer, okay? I might do it on the 24th. Yes, just in case. Well, I've got the basket up here as we conclude today. If this is something you'd like to put in the basket, we will have it available for you December of 2018. And you can be delighted by all that you did and all of who you were this coming past year. Got it? So, thank you all for participating in that and indulging me on the year look back. It's a fascinating look back, and I enjoy the Sunday services we share together and the messages that touch my heart. So